I'm Paul Tyson with Burlesoft's Digital Dialogue Series, and we're back with Steve Bradley. Welcome back, Steve.
Thanks, Paul. Glad to be back.
We're here discussing your series on HR digital transformation. And Steve, in the previous segment, you gave some examples how digital technology is being used to increase employee engagement. Very interesting segment. Let's assume now that an organization is ready to take on a project. How do you get that project from implementation all the way through to adoption? One of our favorite subjects.
Well, I think the word that you just used, they're ready to take it on, is the key word, because I've been through literally hundreds of HR technology implementations, and I would say that success or failure boils down to one thing: readiness.
Readiness, yes. For sure.
So, most organizations think they're ready, but most are not. And by the way, this is not a new concept, but it's just more critical with digital technology. So I think what needs to be done typically is an assessment, and I think there's some key questions that need to be asked. They're in my article, so I'm not going to go through all of them, but let me just give you a few examples. And I think some of the more important ones are, does the company have executive leadership that is committed and have the financial backing?
Yeah, wow, I call that table stakes.
Well, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
The other one that I think is overlooked and is even probably more important is, does the HR department have the right organization not only to implement, but maintain and advance the technology after the initial release?
Wow, yep.
Yeah, it's often that HR organizations really are not ready for that. Another one is just kind of a technical thing. Do persons responsible for the project have a good understanding of what processes will be impacted?
Wow, yeah.
So I think, and then, of course, in my world is, does the company leadership think digitally? Because that's going to be really important to pull all of this forward. So for me, the question really is, how do these questions get answered and when? I believe that it's absolutely imperative that to ensure successful transformation, these questions and more need to be answered before the technology implementation even begins. Mm-hmm. So what I would always recommend is that consider hiring a third party to help with the readiness assessment to determine the best approach and given the assessment results as they come back. Mm-hmm. But here's the kicker. I also believe that it's imperative that a digital charter be created by a digital office, right, led by a chief digital officer in the company.
Wow, big change.
Yeah. So that's another new role. We already talked about data scientist. I think the office of the CDO, the chief digital officer, is incredibly important moving forward with digital transformation.
So thinking digitally and adopting digitally and growing digitally, and the dexterity of an organization to adopt all of this really requires some structural changes to the thinking process and the actions that the organization takes on.
Absolutely, if they're going to be ready and they're going to be successful.
Yeah, right. And readiness really is a key driver to making the project more effective, less expensive, faster overall, with better results.
Absolutely, that's absolutely right.
Right.
Right, it's been fun doing this.
Yeah, it really has. And so thank you for writing this series, because I really think that the HR community needs it.
Yeah, I do too. Thanks.